Hello, everyone. My name is Kim. I'm the Children and Young Adult Consultant with the Connecticut State Library. We are here with Kristine from the Easton Public Library, who's going to tell us about something that I have heard about in multiple TV shows, and to this day, I haven't a clue what it is, and it is geocaching. I am the blankest of blank slates. Please explain this to me.
All right. Well, I was too. I'd heard of it, and I had no idea. I used to see people walking down the street with their phone, and I remember I was like, what is that? And my son said, oh, I think they're geocaching, and still didn't help. Still had no idea what it was. So again, pandemic, right? I was trying to get, it was summer reading was coming around. I wanted some kind of connection with the community, and but I was looking for something to get people outside, but that would still count as a program, and something contactless, because that was still early on when we didn't want to touch anything. So somehow I'd stumbled upon some library in, I want to say Illinois or something, that had done a geocaching, but it was much more stereotypical geocaching, which is you use your map app, and you have to enter coordinates. So you will get the coordinates, you put them on your map, and then you have to find the coordinates, and then you have to look around, and there's usually some kind of a little cache, maybe a little box or something, and you open it up, and sometimes you write your name on a piece of paper, and people leave little items, like you could leave a little pebble, or a piece of jewelry, or who knows, just some little thing, and take and leave, and it's cute. But I didn't want to obviously have anything that people were touching. I didn't want anybody to write or touch anything. So I thought, what if we highlight different areas of Easton, and rather than you get there and you can take something, you get there and you learn something. So I had just gotten a partnership together with somebody who's on the Easton Garden Club. She's the president of the Easton Garden Club, and she works with the Pollinator Pathway. And so I said, okay, if I can take pictures of plants from all these, in Easton, we have all these open spaces, right? So I went around to 8 different open spaces, got permission. That was a little tricky too, to get permission, find out who I needed permission from for each different open space, because some were owned by Aspetuck Land Trust, some were managed by Park and Rec, some were private. So I went to the spots and I took pictures of plants that were right there. Then Jean Stetz-Pachalski from the Garden Club was amazing. Her and another lady from the Garden Club, they came in, we looked at the pictures. I had emailed them first, and they were able to identify the plants from my photos, and then say, yes, this is great, this is a local something. And so I got the name, and then someone was like, well, this is great, this is invasive. I'm like, great, we're going to say, hey, this is an invasive thing. So then I made up just laminated signs, and on each one it had the photo that I took of the plant. It had the logos of the library and the garden club and the Pollinator Pathway, information about the plant. And then I had a QR code where you scan the QR code and then you put your name in, so we knew who had done the program. So hopefully everybody who did it scanned it, because I was like, otherwise I'm going to have no idea how many people did this or not. And then we just stapled them onto stakes, went out and I don't know, we must have done it in June, pounded them in the ground, and we were done.
That makes so much sense. I don't know what, the thing is, I don't know what I thought geocaching was, but I was wrong. I don't know. I don't know what I thought it was. I don't know what I thought. I was like, is it like Pokemon Go? Whatever I thought was not that, and that sounds significantly cooler. So, and you actually sent us a picture that I'm going to screen share really quick of what what it looked like. So
Yeah.
this image that you sent us here. So this is what this is sort of what you laminated and staked into the ground, right?
Right.
So you went out and took this picture of a mountain laurel. Is that what that is? And you know, put some information in there about it. Connecticut state flower. Who knew? Should have been me. Didn't know. And then
But now you do.
Now I know.
Yeah.
And then I actually did play around with the QR code and I scanned it. And then, you know, they just put their name and email in, and you partnered with Easton, the Garden Club. I love the Garden Club. And I can't, the
Pollinator Pathway.
So now what is that? What is the Pollinator Pathway?
A Pollinator Pathway, there's some kind of an organization that just follows, I think, different plants and animals and things that work as pollinators. And I think you can even, like my friend who lives down in Fairfield has a little Pollinator Pathway plaque on her fence in front of her yard because she's sort of registered as part of the Pollinator Pathway because she doesn't use any chemicals in her yard. It's just all natural. Right. And so I think that that's sort of what they're all about. In fact, one of our locations, I wanted to specifically put in there, it's not a plant, it was this area in one of the open spaces where you can walk, and in the center is this enormous beehives. Ooh. That a local, I think it's Easton beekeepers or something like that, and it's huge. And I was like, perfect for Pollinator Pathway. So we talked about the different kind of bees that are native and the ones that aren't, and it was really interesting.
Kristine, this is like a nonfiction story walk. This is like a community, and instead of just like one book that's spread about, there's a common feature of sort of like local wildlife, because I mean, like, plants count as that as well, and people can move from space to space and learn about these different things in their state and in their community, and there's nothing lovelier than that. And if a library wouldn't do that, who would, right? Like, I mean, that's what we do, right? We find information and we share information with our community.
I also loved the idea that it would maybe introduce people to parts of Easton that they hadn't been to before. So look, here's Payne Open Space was one of them. So I tried to put the signs a little bit in to the location, but not too far in where you had to hike 20 minutes to get there. But as like a little teaser, like you walk in a little ways, there it is. And wow, it's a beautiful day. Let's continue the hike around the open space.
Always thinking.
So I loved that it maybe brought people to some kind of like a nice hiking area or pretty nature walk that they'd never heard of before.
I am, my brain is doing so many things, and I'm loving so much about this. So, okay, and I would not be surprised if it was hard to describe, but if you could do the best you could, how did you set this up in the map? So you said someone has to open a map app. I'm assuming like Google Maps, just like anything built into a phone, and you found a way to retrieve the coordinates for wherever you were standing, right? Like what was that like? So, to the best of your ability.
I just had to, Google it and learn. It's not hard to get the coordinates. So I just spent the day, not the whole day, but after a certain amount of time, I'd go to the spots, and you just go into the app. There's a couple things you can push, and it gives you the coordinates where you're standing. So I wrote those down with the corresponding spot, and then you had to go to our website. We had a specific geocaching page on the website, and it would give you instructions of, first find the coordinates, then find the sign, then scan the QR code, blah, 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 move on to the next one. And then I also gave a little clue. So I gave the coordinates, and I told them how to and you can just plug them into any Maps app, GPS thing in your phone, and it will take you there. And then I gave them a little clue, sort of like if it was families and kids, like one of them was this really cool tree, which I can't remember what it is now. And it was right at the soccer fields where the elementary school is.
Yep.
And so I think the clue was like, soccer here, soccer there, soccer all around. And then you had to find the little and then it gave the coordinates. So you sort of had a little clue and then the coordinates, and then you went to find it.
I love it, and I want to play so bad. Oh my gosh. And I know how beautiful Aspetuck is because I remember going there for something when I was in Easton. So and you said this is probably, I feel like maybe the hardest part you said was identifying who owned the land to get permission to do this, I think is what you said. So you wanted to make sure, and that's what a great way to cover your bases. You wanted to make sure that you had permission to put the stake in there and that, you know, someone wouldn't come and take it out. Did you just sort of like go online and have like a draft email that you sent out? What was that like for you?
I tried, I think I called town hall first.
That'll do it.
And I spoke to somebody at Park and Rec, which was fantastic because she goes, well, we are in charge of like 4 of those. So you're good to go. I was like, check. All right, check those off the list. And then, yeah, it was just sort of, one of them was Senior Park, which is directly across the street from the library. And I just happened to know who is running that because my son was doing a scout thing with them. So I had a name for that one. And then, yeah, just I knew one of them was Aspetuck, and I thought I'll just take a chance thinking some of the others. So it all fell together. It was just a little, you know, poking around.
Yeah, yeah. How fun. Are you gonna do this again? Is this do you plan to do it
I would
this
love
summer?
to do it again, but do it in sort of more the traditional geocaching where they actually could have, now we can add that element where they could actually write something. But I think I'm gonna have to find different places is the thing, because if I use the same exact places, then nobody's going to know the coordinates to find. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out like where else I can do them.
Ooh, Kristine, I'm gonna need an email when you do this again so that I can be your tester, your library tester, because that sounds like so much fun. And I mean, of course, you're right, depending on how many locations you can identify in your community, something that can be repeated. And I mean, COVID or no, like get outside and like, you know, have fun and you know, things like that. I love everything. This was so great. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I'm so glad we could talk about it. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no problem. And again, call me when you're ready to do this again. And thank you for your time and thank you for sharing. People will email you about this. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. So I'm just gonna call her. Don't call me. I don't know how this works. Call Kristine. It's gonna be great. Thank you.
Right. Thanks so much.